if you really want to be a winner at your barbecue this year, you got to get crazy with the side dishes. What I want to show you how to do is make vegan, gluten-free mac and cheese. You won't miss the cheese, all the flavor, all the fun. Take a head of cauliflower. Best way to break down this cauliflower, I like to do, I split it down the middle, and you really just want to remove these leaves. All that is totally edible. All this stuff, not that it's not edible, but we're just not going to use it today. It's got a little bit of dirt on it. Give it a quick rinse. Chop this up. And I'm going to put it into a pot. Put a whole Spanish onion in there. And take the top, take the bottom off, take this off. You're gonna peel the layer till it's tender. So you wanna peel this kind of waxy part off. And then I'm just gonna rough chop in the pot. Right in there. So you got one head of cauliflower, one onion, and then we're gonna add 2 cups of cashews. Add a little bit of water, not a ton. Okay, that was about 1.5 cups of water. And I'm just gonna put it on the stove, cover it. Additionally, 1 to maybe 2 lemons. I've got a little onion powder, smoked paprika, garlic granules, and this is really important, the nutritional yeast, which gives it that kind of cheesy flavor. And then I just have some nice extra virgin olive oil. You want to cook that cauliflower cashew mixture for about 30 minutes. You need everything to be soft because we're gonna blend it, and if everything's soft, it'll come out nice and smooth like a cheese sauce. The cashews are basically, I can break them apart with my finger. They're pretty soft. The water's mostly evaporated. It's soft enough that I can blend this into the puree base for the cheese sauce. Spoon some of this out. Remember, I don't want to fill up my blender all the way. That's a good amount of product to have in there. Next thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put my lemon juice in there. Gonna go with about a teaspoon of paprika. You don't want too much. And just a sprinkling of onion powder. A tiny bit of garlic powder. And now, the nutritional yeast. It's kind of scary with this stuff. You almost can't put too much, but I've got about a 1/2 cup in there. That's what we're gonna blend for now, okay? We can always adjust and add some more stuff later. Particularly the olive oil we want to add at the end. We don't want to blend that too much because it's going to get bitter. So when you blend this, one thing you want to make sure is that it needs to blend for a long time, like at least 2 minutes until it gets super creamy and smooth. I'm going to add about a 1/2 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. I'm gonna add a full tablespoon of salt. And the last thing we're gonna do, we're gonna add, I'm gonna call this 1, 2, 3 tablespoons of olive oil. So what I wanna show you is the kind of really thick consistency. This plant-based version hits the spot every time. My favorite, my trusty Banza chickpea pasta. I'm using elbows because they're very macaroni. We've got our water boiling. We're gonna go ahead and add a little bit of salt just to season the water. And I'm just gonna go ahead and get my shells in there. Our noodles have been boiling for about 10 minutes. While they're hot, we've got our cheese sauce and we're just going right in. Right in with the cheese sauce. one of the great things to grill in the world is this grocery store bought, pre-peeled sweet corn. I'm not the biggest fan of GMOs, but when it comes to sweet corn, they made it just right. Take it, give it a quick rinse. So we've got these ripping red hot coals. We're just gonna put the corn right on the fire. Okay, now we've got some perfect char on these corn cobs. We're gonna use ghee because it's already soft. And I'm gonna hit this with about a tablespoon and a half and a little bit of turmeric, a little bit of curry powder. Just start to coat this corn with the butter and the spices. Give it a little toss. You show up to a potluck dinner with this stuff, you're gonna get lots of high fives. The next total winner for barbecue side dishes, a little bit out of left field, is I got these organic, tiny, sweet French green beans. I got these at Costco. It's a handful here. Make it 2 handfuls, okay, of green beans. I've got this coconut oil cooking spray. Then again, always, we'll hit it with just a little bit of salt, a little kosher salt, and this is ready to grill. We're waiting a little bit for it to get hot. So what we're looking here for is to get this nice char, but evenly. I'm gonna make a little aioli, if you will. So we're gonna do, let's call that 2 tablespoons of avocado oil. This is Yellowbird organic sriracha. Give a nice couple teaspoons in there. So I've got half a lime. I mean, you're just gonna have to gauge. It's probably a tablespoon of lime juice. You never know how juicy a lime's gonna be, but that's actually enough. And so it's 3 ingredients, and we're just gonna take that, whisk it together. Today I want to show you how to make your own barbecue sauce. A lot of the barbecue sauce that you buy in the store is loaded with bullshit. With packaged foods, you really do want to look at the labels. You want to look at the ingredients. What are you putting into your body? It's really important as you start to tune into how you're feeling when you're eating, when you're cooking. So I'm going to teach you how to make a really simple homemade barbecue sauce. I took some dates out and I have them soaking in water. So you want to soak these for a few hours. It's going to make it easier to blend, make it a little bit smoother, a little bit softer. Now I'm going to put the dates in here. I've got 6 dates in here. 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. Then I've got about a half a cup of apple cider vinegar. Teaspoon of mustard. I fermented some Fresno chilies to give it a little like bright pop. We're gonna add pickled chilies. With the liquid aminos, I'm just gonna go couple little splashes. This can be very overpowering. If it's hard to blend, we're gonna use a little bit of this, which is the water that the dates were soaking in, just to kind of loosen it up. You gotta let the blender run for a bit until it gets smooth. About a half a teaspoon of ground ginger, half a teaspoon of onion powder, half a teaspoon of garlic, ground garlic. I'll go with a full teaspoon of coriander. Definitely a nice big teaspoon of smoked paprika. This is smoked salt to give it that little smoky flavor. We've got about 2 teaspoons of smoked salt. Wow. And sometimes you even impress yourself. Barbecue season is upon us, and one of the benchmark barbecue techniques that you really want to have in your back pocket is a great rack of ribs. There's a lot of different types of ribs. Today we're gonna do baby back ribs. Got 3 really nice racks of baby back ribs, but we're gonna do a little bit of a combination smoked grill today. So it'll have the smokiness from, a smoke technique, but it'll also have the char from a grill. You wanna make sure your ribs are cooked before you start to apply the glaze or the barbecue sauce. Spice blend that we put into the barbecue sauce, we've mirrored that spice blend as a rub onto the meat. It has paprika, onion powder, garlic powder, cumin, coriander, and a little bit of black pepper, and then I have salt in here. Liberally sprinkle this all over my ribs, and then I am gonna physically rub them. And this makes sure that the spices start to penetrate and adhere to the meat. Most important is this side because you have a lot more flesh on this side. And we've got a nice even coat. So you can let your ribs hang out like this overnight. You could do it an hour or 2 beforehand. In this case, we're gonna get it going in about an hour or so. I really highly recommend one of these chimneys. Crumple out paper and stick it underneath. That will get the coals going. Get some wood chips going. Same as last time, we're gonna make a little foil pouch. I'm gonna put my wood chips, my soaked wood chips in there. And then we'll take this over to the fire. You wanna lay them out flat so that they cook evenly. And then we're gonna cover it up. Gonna let these babies rock for about an hour, and we're gonna get some nice grill char on them and lacquer them up with barbecue sauce. Ribs have been on the closed smoke setting, 300 degrees, for about an hour. And at this stage, these ribs are essentially, they're basically cooked through. At this stage, we're just gonna start to get some nice color on the meat. And we do that by turning the meat a lot. Now that we've started that grilling process, I'm gonna start to glaze the meat with that really nice barbecue sauce that we made. We've got a nice little char on here. Got some nice smoke. The meat is cooked. We're gonna start to glaze these suckers. I don't wanna waste the sauce. I want the sauce to sort of bake onto the meat. So we've got our nice rack of ribs here, and I'm gonna cut them into individual ribs and just separate these ribs. And then I'm gonna top it with a little more of this liquid gold here. And then we'll hit it with just a little bit of brightness, a little scallion there. Pickled chilies, just to indicate that there is a heat component, so when people grab them, if they're afraid of spicy, at least we warned them.